Hi Year 10. So the idea behind this week's lessons is that I'm going to trial this video, so it will be easier for you to hopefully understand some of the instructions, and you have the advantage of pausing and replaying back the video as well if you need any help. So as you make your way through the next few activities, just think about what I'm telling you for each task, and think carefully about making sure that you have a pen and paper ready and to make some notes. So for this first slide, you will see that there is an example writing question just here. What I want you to do is just have a little read of that writing question, and I want you to think back to the writing task that you did on language paper 1. Make some bullet point notes, have a think about what's different. What differences do you see in the question style, the type of question, what you might be required to do. Make as many points as you can, and then hopefully that will be confirmed when we move on to our next task. It's really important that you make sure you keep some detailed notes on each of these questions. So either in bullet point form or just write in your own words. I don't care how you do it, but it's really important that you keep hold of these notes, and then you can refer back to them when we go back through the paper. On this slide, you will see some information about the writing section for paper 2. There are definitely some similarities between both papers. They're both given the same amount of marks, for example. However, the tasks are slightly different. Have a read through the information on this slide, make some of those notes around the task, and then you should start to understand a little bit more about how these two questions are different. It's really important to understand how many marks that you are awarded on this paper and for what skill. So this writing section is worth 40 marks, and you are awarded for your organisation and communication, which is the heavier weighting on this question, and you're also awarded for your spelling, punctuation and grammar. Continue making your notes. Think carefully about the types of skills that you're being required to show on this question, and they are going to be the kind of skills that we'll be looking at as we make our way through the planning stage and also the writing stage. So, some information on the approach to this question. It's really easy just to fall into the trap of going straight in and reading the question and thinking, right, I'm going to have to write straight away. You are given 45 minutes for a reason. Some of that time you will need to make sure that you plan. Before you even get to the planning stage, you need to read that question really carefully. So there are 3 tips that you need to think about, and that's the purpose, that's what was the reason you are writing, that's the audience, who are you writing to, and that's also the format, what is it you are being asked to write. Those 3 things should be somewhere in the question. So have a look at the questions on this slide, and then have a look at the model that I've produced on the next slide that should give you an idea of the kind of things that you need to look for. So you can see on this question that I have thought carefully about the purpose, audience and format. So you will probably find that when you go through the question, you will notice these elements. They should be part of the question. So, for example, under purpose, under this example, you can see that it says explain a point of view, and that is all. That's also in the question itself. Now, not every question will give you an audience, so this is not necessarily specific, but it does allow you, if you're not given an exact audience to write to, then that's for you to start thinking about the type of audience that you might want to aim your writing towards, and that will determine whether you start to write formally, informally, potentially use slang, but that can sometimes lead to some traps. And then the last thing is the format. So that you can see that the question asks you to write an article for a newspaper. So finally, for this lesson, what I would like you to do now is I've put 2 extra examples on this slide of other writing questions from different exam papers. So using the model that I did on the previous slide with the purpose, audience and format, I'd like you to do the same thing with these 2 questions. So you can either write purpose, audience and format, and then next to each of those words write down your response to what you think they are in the question, or if you have the ability to print off those questions and highlight them over the top and annotate the questions, then you can do that as well.